The days following the encounter with the unknown fleet were tense but productive. Marcus had earned a measure of trust that few humans ever received, yet he knew that the galaxy was not a place of rest. Challenges arose in unpredictable ways, and new threats waited around every corner. Ilara, calm and composed, seemed to anticipate these challenges, yet she relied on Marcus's human intuition as a valuable complement to her vast resources. One morning, while reviewing star charts and fleet reports, Ilara approached Marcus in the ship's command chamber. "Marcus, there is an urgent matter," she said. "A rival coalition is moving quickly to claim a cluster of trade worlds in our sector. If they succeed, it could destabilize commerce and endanger countless lives. I need your advice and your ingenuity to respond." Marcus leaned forward, studying the maps. The rival coalition's fleet was large and well-organized, clearly confident in their numerical advantage. But Marcus's eyes caught subtle flaws in their deployment, minor oversights in patrol patterns and predictable routes. "They're overconfident," Marcus said. "They're relying too much on numbers and intimidation. If we can anticipate their movements, we can defend without risking unnecessary conflict." Ilara nodded. "Then we shall act decisively, yet strategically." "Your plan?" Marcus took a deep breath. He outlined a strategy that combined diversion, precise fleet maneuvers, and human ingenuity. He proposed creating false signals of movement, using smaller human-engineered vessels to simulate activity in areas where no real force existed, and coordinating with the trade worlds to strengthen defenses subtly, without provoking panic. Ilara studied his proposal carefully. "It is unorthodox, yet it may succeed precisely because it is unexpected. We will follow your guidance." Over the next few days, Marcus coordinated the plan, working alongside pilots, engineers, and diplomats. Every decision tested his skills, his judgment, and his ability to adapt on the fly. The alien crew, accustomed to methodical calculations and strict protocols, were initially hesitant but gradually learned to trust his instincts. When the rival coalition finally approached, Marcus's preparations were ready. Small decoy fleets moved into position, sensors emitted misleading signals, and trade worlds were subtly fortified. The coalition, expecting a straightforward conquest, found themselves navigating a maze of unpredictability. During the engagement, Marcus made split-second decisions, rerouting ships to block potential flanks, adjusting sensor interference, and communicating precise instructions to pilots. Every move relied on human creativity, intuition, and courage, rather than brute force or pre-programmed calculations. The rivals grew frustrated. Their carefully planned attack failed repeatedly, and their movements became increasingly erratic. They had underestimated the humans, and Marcus in particular. By the third day, the coalition was forced to retreat. Their attempt to seize the trade worlds had been thwarted not by superior technology, but by ingenuity, observation, and quick thinking. Ilara's empire remained secure, and the alliance of trade worlds hailed her leadership. And now quietly, Marcus's contribution. After the fleet returned safely to the ship, Ilara approached Marcus in the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the countless challenges it held. "You have done the extraordinary," Ilara said, "not through wealth or weapons, but through understanding, creativity, and courage. Your actions have saved lives, protected trade, and demonstrated the power of human insight." Marcus felt a flush of pride, but also humility. "I just tried to do what I could. I didn't plan for all this. I never imagined my small skills could matter on this scale." Ilara's golden eyes shone softly. "That is precisely why humans are remarkable. You act without expectation, adapt when necessary, and face challenges with integrity. That combination cannot be measured by wealth or technology. It is far greater." Marcus leaned against the railing, gazing at the stars. For a moment, he allowed himself to reflect. His life had changed completely. From a simple mechanic on the edge of human space, to a trusted strategist aboard the ship of one of the galaxy's richest and most powerful rulers, he had traveled farther than he could have imagined. And yet, he had remained true to his principles. Curiosity, ingenuity, and ethical judgment. In the days that followed, Marcus continued to work with Alara's crew. He helped improve fleet coordination, devised more efficient trade routes, and even contributed ideas for diplomatic negotiations. Every challenge was an opportunity to demonstrate human ingenuity, and every success reinforced the respect he had earned. One afternoon, as they traveled past a massive gas giant, Marcus found a quiet moment to speak with Alara privately. "You know," Marcus began, "I never expected to find myself in a galaxy like this. I offered help to a stranded ship, and now, this. I feel like I've been swept into something much bigger than myself." Alara regarded him thoughtfully. "And yet, you have risen to meet it. That is why I value your presence. Many would be overwhelmed, intimidated, or distracted by wealth and power. You have remained steady, guided by principles rather than desire." Marcus nodded. "I guess humans have a way of thinking that can surprise even the most advanced civilizations. We improvise, adapt, and make decisions based on more than calculations alone." Alara's smile was faint, but warm. "Indeed, that is why your perspective matters. Your creativity, courage, and integrity have influenced not just actions, but outcomes that affect entire systems." As the weeks passed, Marcus continued to grow into his role. He was no longer just a mechanic. He had become a strategist, a trusted advisor, and a representative of human ingenuity. The alien crew treated him as an equal in many respects, valuing his input and learning from his unique perspective. Yet, Marcus remained humble. He never sought recognition or reward beyond the satisfaction of doing what was right. And in return, the galaxy began to recognize the quiet power of humans, creatures capable of ingenuity, moral judgment, and courage, even in the most advanced and complex civilizations. One day, as they approached a bustling trade hub, Alara spoke to Marcus with a more personal tone. "Marcus, there is something I wish to offer you," she said. "Not as a reward, but as recognition of your contributions and trust. You have earned a place among my advisors and allies with access to knowledge, technology, and resources that can expand your understanding and abilities." Marcus felt a mixture of awe and hesitation. I don't know what to say. I never imagined this." Alara's eyes softened. "You do not need to say anything. Accept it if you wish, but know that your value is not in wealth or status. It is in your choices, your actions, and your principles. That is what makes you extraordinary." Marcus took a deep breath. He realized that the offer was more than material. It was a chance to continue exploring, learning, and contributing in ways he had never imagined. And he accepted not for glory or wealth, but for the opportunity to make a difference. In the weeks that followed, Marcus worked on new projects, improving fleet defenses, devising efficient trade systems, and even mentoring younger humans who joined the crew. His ideas were implemented across systems, subtly transforming operations and proving that human ingenuity could impact even the most advanced civilizations. The galaxy, vast and unpredictable, remained full of challenges. Yet Marcus now faced them not as a lone mechanic, but as part of a team, guided by principles, supported by technology, and trusted by one of the most powerful rulers in the galaxy. One evening, as the ship sailed past a nebula shimmering with radiant colors, Marcus and Alara stood together in the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly, and the silence of space was profound. "You have changed much, Marcus," Alara said softly. "Not just in actions, but in presence. Humans have qualities that even the wealthiest and most powerful beings must recognize: ingenuity, courage, and moral judgment. You embody all of them." Marcus smiled, a mixture of humility and determination in his expression. "I've learned a lot, and I know there's still so much more out there. I want to keep helping, keep learning, and keep proving that humans can make a difference." Alara's smile reflected the light of distant stars. "Then we shall continue," together. The galaxy is wide, full of challenges and opportunities, and you, Marcus Lane, have shown that even the simplest offer of help can ripple across the stars. As the ship sailed forward, carrying them past worlds, trade routes, and countless stars, Marcus felt a profound sense of purpose. From the moment he had offered to help a stranded ship, his life had transformed. He had faced dangers, solved impossible problems, and earned the trust of a ruler whose wealth spanned systems. Yet more importantly, he had demonstrated the power of human ingenuity, courage, and integrity. And somewhere in the vastness of the galaxy, Marcus Lane knew that this was only the beginning. Marcus could hardly believe his eyes as he stepped deeper into Ilara's ship. Every surface shimmered with a subtle glow, as if the walls themselves were alive. It wasn't just advanced technology, it was art. The hallways curved in smooth, elegant arcs, and the floor adjusted to his weight, almost cushioning each step. His fingers itched to touch everything, but he resisted, not wanting to make a mistake in a place that clearly belonged to someone far above his understanding. "Follow me," Ilara said, her voice calm and commanding, yet not unkind. Marcus fell into step behind her, still marveling at the seamless panels and floating lights that illuminated their path. She moved with a grace that seemed effortless, and Marcus felt the subtle pull of awe and curiosity tugging at him. After a short walk, they arrived at a large chamber that resembled a combination of a lounge and a command center. The walls were transparent, offering a breathtaking view of the galaxy beyond. Marcus could see nebulae glowing in brilliant colors, distant stars twinkling like scattered gems, and massive ships moving silently in the void. "This is incredible," he murmured. "I've never seen anything like it." Ilara's lips curved in a slight smile. "Few have. It is a place of reflection and strategy. I spend much of my time here considering the many possibilities the galaxy presents." Marcus swallowed hard. "You mean you're a leader? Some kind of ruler?" Ilara's eyes gleamed, but she gave no direct answer. "I am responsible for my people. That is sufficient." Marcus nodded slowly, realizing he had just stepped into a world far beyond the simple stations and freighters he was used to. And yet, despite the grandeur, there was something surprisingly human about her manner, calm, patient, and attentive. She gestured to a seat. "Sit. There is much to discuss." Marcus sat, trying to steady his racing thoughts. I didn't expect this. I thought I'd fix a ship, maybe get a small reward and go back to my routine. I didn't think I'd end up here looking out at the stars like this." Ilara's gaze softened. "Sometimes, the simplest actions lead to the greatest opportunities. You helped without expectation. That is rare. I wish to know more about you, Marcus Lane." Marcus blinked, unsure what to say. Talking about himself was not his usual habit, but something about her presence made him open up. He told her about his life in the outer colonies, the small stations where humans survived on wit and hard work, the freighters he repaired, the friends he had made along the way. He spoke of scarcity, of challenges, and of small victories that felt monumental in the harshness of space. Ilara listened without interruption, absorbing every word. Her eyes occasionally flicked to the galaxy outside, as if measuring his stories against the vastness beyond. "Humans are resilient," she finally said. "You thrive where others might falter. That is admirable." Marcus shrugged. "We don't have a choice. Space doesn't wait for anyone. You either adapt or, well, you stop moving." Ilara nodded. "Adaptation is key. And yet, you maintain your curiosity, your desire to learn. That is not universal. Many beings grow complacent when comfort surrounds them." Marcus felt a mixture of pride and embarrassment. He was just a mechanic, a simple human doing what he could to survive. Yet she spoke as if he were extraordinary. After a pause, Ilara leaned back, her gaze distant. "There is a matter I must attend to, Marcus. My people face challenges that may seem trivial to humans, yet they are complex and delicate. Perhaps your perspective Could prove useful. Marcus frowned. You mean, you want my help? Ilara's smile was subtle, but her eyes held something more. A challenge, a test, an invitation. I do. Your human ingenuity may offer solutions that others overlook, and your actions may strengthen bonds between our peoples. Marcus hesitated. He wasn't used to being trusted with important matters, certainly not by someone so powerful. Yet a spark of excitement flared in him. All right, he said finally, I'll help, but you have to promise me something. And what is that? Nothing shady. No tricks, no politics, just honest problems and honest solutions. Ilara's eyes twinkled. Agreed. I value honesty above all. For the next few hours, she guided him through the ship's systems, explaining subtle technologies that Marcus had never encountered. Energy conduits that responded to thought patterns, propulsion systems that drew power from nearby stars, and storage modules that could compress massive volumes of material into small spaces. Marcus listened carefully, learning quickly, asking questions when necessary, and offering suggestions based on human logic. At one point, he noticed a panel flickering, slightly out of sync with the rest of the ship. Without thinking, he moved to adjust it, his fingers working with practiced precision. Ilara observed silently, her expression unreadable. You understand this intuitively, she remarked after a moment. Most of my advisors would spend hours in calculations. You act first, analyze later, and succeed. Marcus chuckled. That's just how we do it. Sometimes overthinking wastes time. You learn to trust your instincts. Ilara nodded thoughtfully. Instinct. That may be why I called you here. The conversation was interrupted by a subtle alert, a soft, pulsing light on the control console. Ilara's expression changed, just slightly, enough for Marcus to notice. A rival fleet is near, she said calmly. They wish to undermine my operations in this sector. Nothing immediate, but their presence is concerning. Marcus's heart skipped a beat. Rivals, are we in danger? Ilara's tone was steady, almost serene. Not directly, yet their intentions are disruptive. It is an opportunity to test your ingenuity, Marcus, how humans adapt under pressure. Marcus nodded, adrenaline sharpening his mind. He was used to facing emergencies on ships, making split-second decisions to save freighters or crews. Yet, this was different. This was politics, strategy, and power on a galactic scale. But still, the challenge intrigued him. Ilara gestured to a holographic display, showing a map of nearby systems, trade routes, and fleet movements. Analyze, recommend, and above all, do not underestimate your contribution. Marcus leaned forward, studying the display. He noticed patterns the aliens had overlooked, subtle weaknesses in the rival fleet's patrol routines, and opportunities to reroute trade convoys safely. Ideas formed rapidly, and he proposed several unconventional solutions, using logic and intuition combined. Ilara watched quietly, her eyes sharp. After a moment, she said, Your approach is bold, yet precise. It is unlike anything my advisors would suggest. You see paths we do not. Marcus grinned. Humans are good at improvising. We have to be, or we don't survive out there. Over the next day, Marcus worked alongside Ilara's team, earning their respect as he demonstrated practical solutions to complex problems. Aliens, accustomed to relying on sophisticated calculations and rigid protocols, began to recognize the value of human intuition. Marcus realized that despite the grandeur and technology, the principles that guided human success, adaptability, creativity, and ethical judgment, remained powerful across the galaxy. By the end of the second day, the rival fleet had moved on, misled by the rerouted trade and strategic diversions Marcus had suggested. Ilara's empire was safe, at least for the moment. You did well, Ilara said as they watched the stars once again from the observation deck. You have proven that humans are more than capable allies. Perhaps in time you may influence more than I first imagined. Marcus leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. I didn't expect any of this, Helped because it seemed like the right thing to do. Ilara's gaze softened, almost fond. That is precisely why your contribution is so valuable. Your actions were not driven by greed or ambition, but by integrity. That is rare, even among those with power. For the first time, Marcus truly saw Ilara, not just as a mysterious alien, not just as a ruler, but as someone who valued the same principles he had lived by. And in that moment, he realized that helping her was only the beginning of an adventure, far beyond anything he could have imagined. As the ship sailed through the galaxy, the stars stretching endlessly in every direction, Marcus felt a mixture of excitement and anticipation. He had offered help to a stranger, expecting nothing in return, and now he found himself part of a world where ingenuity, courage, and honesty mattered more than wealth, status, or power. He didn't yet know where this journey would take him. But for the first time in his life, Marcus Lane felt that the universe was wide open, and he had a place in it. Marcus spent the following days learning more about Ilara's world. Her ship was not just a vessel, it was a mobile hub of trade, knowledge, and diplomacy. Every corridor he walked through revealed something new: a room full of holographic maps of distant star systems, a library containing records of civilizations humans had only begun to imagine, laboratories experimenting with energy and matter in ways Marcus could barely comprehend. Yet, despite all the technology, what fascinated Marcus the most was the people. Ilara's crew was diverse, with beings from multiple star systems, each with different cultures, languages, and abilities. They moved with purpose and efficiency, but they also treated Marcus with a mixture of curiosity and respect. He was human, unfamiliar with their ways, yet he had earned a place among them through his actions and integrity. One morning, as the ship traveled through a quiet sector of space, Ilara approached Marcus in the observation deck. The view outside was stunning, an endless field of stars, punctuated by a distant, colorful nebula. Marcus was leaning against the railing, lost in thought. "Marcus," Ilara said softly, drawing his attention. "We have received troubling news. One of my trade routes has been sabotaged. Cargo convoys have gone missing. Your skills may be required once again." Marcus's eyes widened. "Missing convoys? That sounds serious. Are they being attacked?" Ilara shook her head. "No evidence of direct attack, but there is interference, signals tampered with, navigation systems disrupted. Whoever is responsible is clever and cautious. We must proceed carefully." Marcus nodded, feeling a surge of determination. He had faced emergencies on ships before, but this was different. These weren't just technical problems, they were strategic. Someone was trying to undermine the Queen's operations, and it was up to him to help stop it. He spent hours analyzing the data with Ilara and her advisors. The holographic maps displayed complex trade routes, interstellar currents, and communication signals. Marcus's human intuition began to reveal patterns the others had overlooked. "They're avoiding the main patrols," Marcus said, pointing at the map. "They must have inside knowledge of the routes, but look here, these minor systems are unmonitored. That's where they're striking." An alien advisor tilted its head, clearly impressed. "That is unconventional. Most of us would have assumed the attacks were random or that the patrols would catch them eventually." Marcus shrugged. "Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. People, aliens or humans, tend to follow patterns. If you know the patterns, you can predict behavior." Ilara's golden eyes gleamed with approval. "Indeed. Marcus, your perspective is invaluable." With a plan forming, Marcus suggested a multi-step strategy. First, reroute the remaining cargo through safer paths. Second, set up decoys to lure the saboteurs into a controlled area. Third, use advanced sensors to detect tampering signals. "Bold," said one of the alien officers, "but risky. The decoys may fail." Marcus smiled. "Risk is part of the equation, but calculated risk, using observation, prediction, and quick adjustment, can work in our favor." Over the next day, the team implemented Marcus's plan. He worked tirelessly, alongside Ilara and her crew, monitoring sensor readings, adjusting cargo routes, and coordinating communication networks. Every time a new complication arose, Marcus improvised, using his human experience with resourcefulness and intuition to solve the problem. One particularly tense moment occurred when a convoy suddenly disappeared from the main tracking system. Marcus's heart raced as he scanned the signals. "Wait," he muttered. "They didn't just vanish. Look at this. The signals are being rerouted. They're heading toward a minor system we flagged earlier." Ilara's eyes widened slightly. "Good observation. Prepare to intercept." Marcus guided a team of pilots, giving precise instructions to redirect the convoy safely while setting up decoys to catch the saboteurs. The plan unfolded with tense precision, every step dependent on timing and coordination. Hours later, the missing cargo was recovered and the saboteurs trapped in a controlled area. The alien fleet marveled at the ingenuity of Marcus's approach. Creative, adaptable, and unexpected. "You have done remarkably well," Ilara said as they watched the captured ships being secured. "Your human ingenuity has saved valuable resources and strengthened my position." Marcus felt a mixture of pride and exhaustion. "I didn't expect this. I just tried to think through the problem." Ilara's gaze softened. "And that is why you succeed. You think, you adapt, and you act with integrity. That is something many beings fail to achieve, even with advanced technology." For the next few days, Marcus continued to assist in securing trade routes and strengthening the ship's defenses. Each challenge highlighted the value of human creativity. While the aliens relied on extensive calculations and protocol, Marcus's ability to improvise and make quick decisions in unpredictable situations repeatedly gave them the upper hand. One evening, as the ship floated near a quiet star cluster, Marcus found a moment to speak privately with Ilara on the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and the silence of space made everything feel more intimate. "You know," Marcus said, "I never imagined I'd be doing something like this. I started as just a mechanic, trying to fix a ship for a small reward, and now I'm helping you save trade routes across the galaxy." Ilara smiled faintly. "And yet, that is exactly why you were chosen. Your actions were simple, honest, and without expectation. That is rare. Many beings in the galaxy act out of greed, ambition, or fear. You act out of principle." Marcus felt a flush of warmth. "I guess. I never thought anyone would notice. We humans just try to survive and do the right thing." Ilara's golden eyes seemed to glow softly. "And that is why humans are remarkable. Your kind possesses resilience, creativity, and ethical judgment. That combination is extraordinary." The following days brought more challenges. Marcus faced sabotaged communication relays, minor skirmishes with rival scouts, and unexpected mechanical malfunctions aboard the ship. Each time he relied on human intuition, quick thinking, and problem-solving skills. Each success earned him more respect from the alien crew, who began to see him as a valuable advisor rather than a mere guest. At one point, an alien technician approached him with a complex energy conduit issue. Marcus studied the design, noticed a subtle misalignment, and corrected it with a combination of skill and ingenuity. The technician's eyes widened. "You fixed it? That is impossible for most of us. Humans are remarkable." Marcus laughed, softly. "I just looked at it differently. Sometimes that's all it takes." Through all of this, Marcus learned more about Ilara herself. She was calm, intelligent, and wise, but she carried the weight of leadership heavily. Her empire spanned many star systems, and the responsibility of ensuring trade, diplomacy, and security rested on her shoulders. Yet she remained approachable, fair, and willing to consider perspectives, even from someone as unassuming as Marcus. One night, as they floated near a distant nebula, Ilara turned to him with a serious expression. "Marcus, I must reveal something. You may have noticed that I am not just a captain or a ruler of a single vessel. I am the head of an empire, the most prosperous in this sector. My wealth and influence are vast, far beyond what humans can imagine." Marcus blinked, momentarily speechless. You mean all of this, it's yours? He gestured vaguely to the view outside, the ship, and the fleet beyond. Alara nodded. Yes, and yet, I value your contributions not for material gain, but for your integrity, creativity, and insight. That is why you are here. Marcus shook his head in disbelief. I didn't even know. I just offered help because it seemed like the right thing to do. Alara smiled, a faint warmth in her expression. And that is why humans are extraordinary. You act without expectation, and in doing so you achieve greatness. Marcus realized that his simple offer to help had led him into a galaxy-wide adventure. He had gained trust, respect, and responsibility far beyond what he had imagined. And, while he had started as a mere mechanic, he was now a valued strategist and ally of one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. As the ship sailed past the glowing nebula, Marcus felt a deep sense of purpose. Challenges lay ahead, certainly more complex and dangerous than anything he had faced. But for the first time, he understood that human ingenuity, courage, and integrity were more powerful than any technology or wealth. And he was ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at him next. Marcus spent the next few days adjusting to life aboard Alara's ship, but the revelation of her status lingered in his mind. The truth was staggering. He had unknowingly befriended the ruler of the richest empire in the galaxy. The thought made him uneasy, yet also curious. How did she handle such power? And why had she trusted him, a simple human mechanic, with her secrets? Alara seemed to sense his unease. One evening, as they watched a cluster of distant stars from the observation deck, she spoke. Marcus, you have adapted well. You see the galaxy through human eyes, and that vision is valuable. Yet I must warn you, power attracts those who seek to exploit it. Marcus frowned. Exploit it? You mean people want to use me? Alara nodded solemnly. Not just you. My rivals will notice your presence and attempt to manipulate you. They see humans as naive, unaware of galactic politics. You must remain vigilant. Marcus's stomach tightened. He had faced difficult situations before, but nothing like this. Out there in the galaxy, he was no longer just an engineer fixing ships. He was a participant in interstellar diplomacy and power struggles. The next morning, the ship received a formal message from a nearby alliance of rival empires. They requested a meeting, claiming it was to discuss trade disputes. Alara called Marcus to her side. I wish for you to attend, she said. Your perspective may offer insights my advisors cannot provide. But be cautious. These rivals are clever and will attempt to sway or mislead you. Marcus swallowed hard. He had never been involved in negotiations at this level, but he felt a surge of responsibility. All right, I'll do my best. The meeting took place on a neutral station, orbiting a small star. Marcus followed Alara and her entourage, marveling at the sophisticated architecture. The station gleamed with metal, and light bustling with beings from countless worlds. Inside the negotiation chamber, representatives of the rival empires awaited. They were imposing, adorned with symbols of power and wealth. Marcus felt a moment of intimidation, but he reminded himself he had skills and instincts that were valuable, even here. The talks began politely. The rivals spoke with polished words, proposing compromises and trade agreements. But Marcus noticed subtle inconsistencies, small hints that the rivals intended to manipulate Alara's decisions. They are trying to corner her, Marcus whispered to one of Alara's advisors. Watch the phrasing, watch the gestures. They want her to overcommit resources. Alara glanced at him, her eyes sharp. Explain. Marcus pointed out the inconsistencies. Notice how they keep referring to minor benefits while ignoring major obligations. They're hoping she'll accept the small gain without realizing the larger risk. Alara's golden eyes narrowed slightly, but she remained calm. Good observation. Continue. Throughout the negotiations, Marcus offered Insights, questions, and suggestions that disrupted the rivals' carefully laid plans. His human intuition, reading body language, understanding hidden intentions, and predicting behavior proved invaluable. At one point, a representative leaned forward, a thin smile on his face. Surely a human cannot understand the complexities of galactic trade and politics? Marcus met his gaze steadily. Maybe not all the details, but I know how people behave, how patterns repeat, and how trust can be tested. Sometimes that is more important than any calculation. The room fell silent for a moment. The alien representatives were clearly surprised by his confidence. Ilara's advisors exchanged glances, impressed by his insight. By the end of the negotiations, the rivals had overreached. Marcus's observations allowed Ilara to secure favorable agreements without yielding to manipulation. The rival representatives left, quietly acknowledging that their schemes had failed. Afterward, Ilara turned to Marcus. You have performed admirably. You navigated dangers that even seasoned advisors might have missed. I am grateful for your honesty and insight. Marcus felt a mix of pride and relief. I just tried to see things clearly, without getting distracted by appearances or promises. Ilara nodded. Exactly. That clarity, combined with courage, is why humans are valuable allies. You remind me that even with all my wealth and power, perspective and integrity matter above all. As they returned to the ship, Marcus reflected on how much his life had changed. From a simple mechanic in a small station to a trusted advisor of one of the galaxy's most powerful rulers, he could hardly believe it. Yet he also felt a sense of purpose. His skills, judgment, and ethics were making a real difference. In the following days, Marcus continued to assist with Empire matters. He helped design secure trade routes, advised on fleet maneuvers, and contributed to diplomatic strategies. Each task revealed new challenges, and each success reinforced his understanding that human ingenuity and morality could influence even the most advanced civilizations. One evening, while reviewing star charts, Ilara spoke softly. Marcus, you have done more than assist my empire. You have demonstrated that humans possess qualities that surpass technology and wealth, qualities I value highly. Marcus smiled. I never thought I'd hear that from someone like you. It's humbling. Ilara regarded him thoughtfully. Humility is a strength. Remember that as we face future challenges. Not all will be as straightforward as those we have overcome so far. Just as Marcus was beginning to feel comfortable, a sudden alert flashed across the command console. Sensors detected an unknown fleet approaching rapidly, unannounced and unmarked. The enemy was bold, their intention unclear, but clearly threatening. Ilara's calm demeanor remained, yet her eyes were alert. Marcus, this is a test of both skill and judgment. We must assess the situation carefully and respond decisively. Marcus's pulse quickened. He had faced emergencies before, but this was different. This fleet was unprovoked, and the stakes were higher than any he had encountered. He leaned over the console, analyzing trajectories, ship capabilities, and potential strategies. They're testing defenses, Marcus said. Look at the formation. They're probing weaknesses, trying to see how we respond. Ilara nodded. And your suggestion? Marcus proposed a plan. Deploy decoy ships to draw attention, reposition the main fleet defensively, and create electronic interference to disrupt enemy sensors. The strategy relied on human intuition and adaptability rather than brute force or rigid protocol. The plan unfolded with tense precision. Marcus coordinated with pilots, technicians, and commanders, ensuring every step was executed accurately. The decoy ships lured the intruders into a controlled area, and the electronic interference masked critical movements. Hours later, the unknown fleet retreated, unable to breach the defenses or predict the human-led strategy. The alien advisors looked at Marcus in awe, clearly recognizing the value of his insight and creativity. Ilara approached him, her expression both proud and contemplative. Marcus, You have proven again that humans possess abilities beyond expectation. Your ingenuity, courage, and ethical judgment have protected not only my empire but countless lives. Marcus exhaled, exhausted but exhilarated. I just did what I could. I didn't expect this level of responsibility. Alara's gaze softened. And yet, you met it. That is the true measure of strength, not wealth, power, or technology, but character, wisdom, and the willingness to act when it matters most. That night, Marcus lay in his quarters staring at the stars beyond the viewports. He thought of how far he had come, from fixing a single ship in a small station to influencing events that spanned entire star systems. He realized that human resilience, creativity, and morality were not just traits for survival. They were forces capable of shaping the galaxy itself. He also understood something else. This was only the beginning. Challenges would grow greater, rivalries more complex, and the stakes higher. But Marcus Lane, simple human mechanic turned trusted ally of the galaxy's richest ruler, felt ready. He would face whatever came next, armed not with wealth or advanced technology, but with the very qualities that made humans extraordinary. Marcus wiped the grease off his hands and leaned back against the hull of his small freighter. The station lights reflected off the metal surface, casting long shadows across the docking bay. It had been a long day of repairs, and he was more than ready to take a break. Yet even in the midst of the usual hubbub, something unusual caught his eye. A sleek spacecraft hovered near the docking platform, far more elegant than the typical freighters that frequented the hub. Its surface gleamed with an iridescent sheen, the kind Marcus had only seen in magazines featuring alien technology. There was no obvious insignia or markings, only smooth curves and a faint hum that resonated in the air. The ship looked lost. Tiny red light blinked on the hull, an automated distress signal. Marcus straightened, squinting at the unusual ship. That's not good, he muttered. He had seen plenty of ships in trouble, but very few that looked this sophisticated. Maybe they just need a quick fix. He pushed himself off the hull and walked toward the spacecraft, his boots clanging against the metal floor. Docking platforms were always noisy, but somehow the hum of this particular vessel made the ordinary sounds fade into the background. As he approached, a panel on the ship slid open with a soft hiss. A figure appeared. At first, Marcus thought it was a human, but the features were subtly different. Her skin shimmered faintly under the station lights, and her eyes glowed with a soft, golden hue. Her hair seemed to float slightly, as if moved by a breeze that wasn't there. "Hello," she said, her voice calm, almost musical. "I require assistance. My ship has malfunctioned." Marcus's mouth went dry for a moment. This was not the usual pilot. He cleared his throat. Sure, I can help. I'm Marcus Lane. I do ship repairs." The figure tilted her head, studying him. "I am called Alara. Your reputation precedes you." Marcus froze. "Reputation?" He scratched the back of his neck. I do small jobs mostly. Nothing big." Alara smiled faintly. "Your skills are sufficient. I trust you can assist me." Marcus gulped and glanced at the ship. Its engine ports glowed faintly, flickering in irregular pulses. "Yeah. Okay, let's take a look." He opened his toolbox, and the familiar weight of his tools made him feel slightly more confident. He didn't know what kind of ship he was dealing with, but he had fixed some tricky vessels before. Most of the time, the problem was simple: loose wiring, coolant leaks, software glitches. But something told him this one would be different. He worked. Alara hovered nearby, observing. She didn't touch anything, but her gaze was intense, curious, and, Marcus realized, patient. Most clients would have been hovering nervously, tapping their fingers or pacing around. Not her. She seemed calm, almost regal. Hours passed. Marcus replaced circuits, adjusted conduits, and ran diagnostics. Every now and then, Alara would ask a question or make a comment, not about the mechanics, but about human behavior, about Marcus's choices, about why he preferred this docking hub to others in the system. Marcus found himself talking more than he usually would, explaining why he liked small stations and simple routines. "You seem content with simplicity," Ilara observed. Marcus shrugged. "It's honest work. You know what you're getting. No politics, no drama. Just fix the ship, get paid, and move on." He smiled wryly. Most people don't understand that these days. Ilara's expression softened. "I understand it. There is value in simplicity." By the time the last circuit was in place, the ship's hum had changed. The flickering lights steadied, and a soft, steady energy pulsed from its engines. Marcus stepped back, wiping sweat from his forehead. "It's stable now," he said. "You should be able to take off without any trouble." Ilara's eyes glimmered with something Marcus couldn't quite identify. Gratitude? Amusement? He wasn't sure. "You have done well," she said. "I wish to express my thanks. Will you allow me to host you for a short period aboard my vessel?" Marcus blinked. Host me?" "Yes. It is customary in my culture to honor those who assist in times of need. A small token of gratitude." Marcus hesitated. Floating aboard an unknown alien vessel wasn't exactly on his list of safe activities, but the offer was polite, and curiosity gnawed at him. He glanced at the docking bay and the hum of the ship, thinking about the opportunity he might be missing. "All right," he said finally. "Lead the way." The interior of Ilara's ship was nothing like Marcus had expected. Smooth, glowing panels lined the walls, and the floor seemed almost alive, reacting subtly to each step. There were no visible seams or screws. The air smelled faintly of something sweet, clean, and unfamiliar. Marcus felt a thrill of excitement mixed with anxiety. Ilara guided him to a small observation deck overlooking the vastness of space. The stars stretched endlessly, punctuated by the distant gleam of planets and stations. Marcus felt a strange sense of insignificance and at the same time, awe. "You humans often underestimate the vastness around you," Ilara said. "Yet your curiosity drives you forward. It is admirable." Marcus laughed softly, shaking his head. "We're curious because we don't want to stay in one place too long. Life's too short, you know." Ilara considered this, her golden eyes reflecting the starfield. "Perhaps that is why I sought you out. Your perspective is refreshing." For the next hour, they talked. Marcus shared stories of life on the fringe colonies, of stations where resources were scarce, of humans banding together to survive against odds that aliens might consider trivial. Ilara listened without interrupting, her calm presence making him feel both nervous and comfortable at the same time. As the conversation ended, Marcus realized he had completely forgotten the original purpose of his visit: fixing the ship. He was not just a mechanic anymore. He was a guest aboard a vessel that seemed almost alive in the company of a being whose presence was both commanding and gentle. Ilara approached, her voice softer now. "You have helped me without expectation. That is rare in any galaxy. I wish to see more of your world, Marcus Lane." Marcus felt a jolt of surprise. "See my world?" "Yes, I am curious about humans, and perhaps in return I may offer guidance, knowledge, or opportunities. Small at first, then more significant." Marcus swallowed hard, excitement and caution warring inside him. He didn't know what awaited him, but he knew one thing: life had just changed. A simple act, offering help to a stranded ship, had opened a door to something far beyond his understanding. As the ship prepared to depart the station, Marcus looked out at the stars once more. Somewhere out there, he thought, was a galaxy filled with possibilities he had never imagined, and somehow he knew that helping Ilara was only the beginning.